All right. Hello, everybody. This is Caleb. I thought I'd bring you guys a video of the Coliseum of Despair champion matches that I had at the end of last week. I finally got #1 on Global and recorded 4 or 5 of the champion matches that I hit over level 200. So I recorded the video. I have it at 2 times speed, so I'll just pause it throughout and give you guys a brief overview. The big thing that I look at when facing the enemy team is the goalkeeper. So this one's Racklet. And then also their front line. So they've got a 3-person front with a blade striker. Midline is going to be the hardest. Throughout the team, there's also no healer. Like in light, there's a Virgil that if you attack, he's going to heal the team, or he's got his active that will heal the team. So you got to be careful with where you're positioning your players and where you shoot and stuff. But basically for Thunder, I will choose an attribute like Magnus, who is going to decrease that incoming damage. So a couple things that I do is I always have a Silla Ace for these really high ones to decrease that incoming damage by 80%, or 45% when your hit points are 80% or higher. I've got a player of the attribute that is the opposite of whoever the team is. So Magnus in this case, because I'm playing against Thunder. And then I've got a 2 healer backline, which is Lin Mei and then the Metatron that they give you. Lucian also, he heals the entire line when he gets attacked. And then I have a action bar recovery player who also happens to be a healer, but that's what I use Miho for. Basically, the strategy for the backline is to survive as much as you can until you use Miho's active, use Magnus's active, build up your spirit to 3 bars, and then start Lin Mei forward pass up to Askeladd, Askeladd forward pass to Elaine, and then Elaine Balth Sharr combo. If you don't have Askeladd, really any forward or long passer will do. Varister, Nyaros, somebody that increases crit damage would be great. I have Karel as just a crit damage passive. Depending on spirit, you could put a Princess Marin or Jacob or somebody there. Use that active and then pass to Silla, pass to your front row passer, and then start it. You just have to be careful that you have enough red pass stones to recover spirit to make sure you have enough for the combo for Elaine Balth Sharr. If you don't have Elaine, then just a good front row totem, and then you'll forward pass up to your passer, active pass, active shot. So obviously when you get up in this high, it can be pretty tough. But I look at the opponent's striker, and wherever they are, that's where I put the Metatron that they give me. And then I'll just go forward a little bit. So Metatron. So here's my stones. I have 1,000 Watchers on Magnus. Miho I build as a full damage resistant just to take as much as she can. Lin Mei is my EBM holder and then also a forward passer, so I've got a red pass stone on her. Lucian I build full damage resistance, so that's him, protection of Mother Earth. Askeladd I have action speed, pass stones, and praise sentence to recover as much spirit as I can. And then Elaine is my EBM holder. Balthion holds Silent Cold. And then Sharr I re-rolled, and I have Shard of Bullmung on her, so she's max damage Sharr. So that's pretty much the setup against this level 202 Bell. So I'll go ahead and play this a little bit and show you kind of what my thoughts are. It really doesn't matter at this point who starts with the ball. They're going to be so fast that they're pretty much just going to annihilate you and get you to the back line. So during this point, I've got pretty high reflex for my back line. Miho, Lin Mei, Metatron, they're all reflex buffs. Magnus, I then have 1,000 Watchers on, so I will almost never get the ball stolen from my back line against whatever their front line is. So basically, I am just passing around. Let me pause it real quick. And I want to be able to use Miho's active first, or Magnus. Either one of them are buffs in action bar recovery, so that way I can fill up the action bar of my mid and front lines. Then once both of their actives are used, then I'll pass it around in the back line until I fill up my 3 spirit bars. And then once that's full, or just over 2.5 bars, then I'll give it to Lin Mei, and Lin Mei will start the forward pass. So pretty much it's just passing. I'll want to attack into the Luca, depending on who I'm going to pass it to. So because Lucian had it, if I would have passed it, it would have gone to Metatron, which would have been the first person. And you never want to leave the Metatron that you put in front of the striker open if you pass to them. Because if I would have passed instead of penetrating, you can see the action bar of the blade is pretty much full. So she would have attacked the Metatron and probably killed her. And then because of the speed, Hildegard would have gone, and then Luca probably would have got it and then passed it back to Blade. And then there would have been a 1v1 shot from Blade against my goalkeeper. So you got to be careful if ever the person in front of the striker is going to get the ball next. you want to penetrate with your goalkeeper so that way you can absorb the attacks now that will come from the higher action bar opponents, rather than passing it to your player who's going to be left out to dry and get annihilated. So now the Hildegard and Blade are going to attack my Lucian, and it's fine. So now I'm just checking action bar. At this point, you can see I've used Miho's active, I've used Magnus's active. So now I'm filling up my spirit bars. I'm at 2 right now until I can get over to Lin Mei, and then that's when I'll pass up to Askeladd, and then Askeladd up to Elaine, Balth, Sharr. It's really nice if you can get Balthion's action bar, and obviously for champion matches, you can't restart and try it again. So if Balthion's action bar can be higher than Elaine's, the better, because when Askeladd passes to Elaine, she's going to fill up her action bar fully. So if I can stay within the 1 minute buff that Askeladd gives me, I'll be doing even more damage from that shot. If you don't have Askeladd, then you want Elaine to have higher speed and a higher starting action bar than Balthion, because when you forward pass it, you want it to go to Elaine first. So I'll play it again, just passing around at this point. So I'm checking action bar. I'm seeing that Metatron's going to get it if I pass, but because she's almost full with action bar, I'm fine with passing to her because I know that I'll be able to immediately pass and go from there. So now I'm checking action bar. I see that I'm at 2.5 spirit bars. I'm on Lin Mei, so I can start the forward pass chain. And so I'll go ahead and use Lin Mei's active, forward pass up to Askeladd, Askeladd active, forward pass up to Elaine, and then Elaine active, pass to Balthion, Balthion active into Sharr active, and then hope you don't get co-op defense. So 13,600 is the damage that I initially did with Sharr, which is pretty amazing. So even if she dies, it doesn't really matter. The Shard of Bolmung stacks still keep. And it really doesn't matter. Their midline, I know that they're going to break through and get to my backline. So now it's pretty much I have to cycle around and get to the point that I can use Miho's active again, and then Magnus is active again, and then, Lin Mei and stuff. So if I can get to another screen for action bar, I'll give it a quick pause on that, and I'll show you guys where I'm at. So I'm at 10 minutes and 36 seconds right now, just passing along, penetrating with Lucian, because he can tank better than anybody, and just keep passing around. Lin Mei heals the line every time she gets hit. Lucian heals the line every time he gets hit. Metatron heals the line every time she gets hit. So it's just creating this zombie backline so that way you can revive your players and lessen the chances of that 1v1 striker shot against your goalkeeper. So here's a quick spot that I look at now when I pause it. I've got full spirit. That's fine. Now I'm waiting for both Miho and Magnus actives to come available again. So I've got to wait 4 minutes for Miho and 5 minutes for Magnus. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at, is I just have to pass around in the back line for another 5 minutes while I tank. And I'm always careful to, if I'm going to pass from Lucian to Metatron and die, then I definitely don't want to do that. And I will attack forward or even suicide with somebody, like what I just did with Magnus. So that way Metatron doesn't die and I don't get a 1v1 shot against the goalkeeper. The other thing I did is that at one point, depending on how long you can last before your Miho active and how many shots on your Metatron, you may have to try to steal the ball and get her counterattack to bring it to the midline, because depending on who broke through when they just, the first goalkeeper shot and then their advance, you're probably going to have a couple players that are going to have full action bar. So if I waited until I did Miho's active and then used Lin Mei's, and then I passed it up to Askeladd, she'd probably only be at about 0 for her action bar. And you can see the Cynthia right in front of her has full action bar, so she's just going to annihilate her. So I've got to try to advance it to the midline and eat up both, I think this is Meg and Cynthia's action bar, and have them do actions before I do my second push. So that's why I tried stealing it with that. The other thing you can do is for score, if you can get an attacker, like I have Corel here, to do damage against a player, that's going to increase your overall score. So in this case, because I had plenty of time still, I used an active pass from Silla to Corel, so that way I could penetrate, and I really only needed 1. So I just checked her active just to make sure it wasn't any healing thing. But she's going to keep passing around, so I've got a couple more minutes left. So pass. So Cynthia's the only one left with action bar on that one, but I should be good after a Miho active. The other reason why I like Metatron in front of the striker is that if they steal it a lot, and they keep getting shots off on you, you're getting Metatron's passive of recovering that team action bar. So that just helps. You want to get a few shots on her. So like Askeladd's already up to I for her action bar. So that way when you use Miho, or if you have Virgil or Avnore, whoever your healer is, once you use that active, it'll be as close to max action bar as possible. So pretty much just waiting, blocking where necessary. Never want to try to attack with the Metatron and die. So there goes that. So there's Miho's active. So I'll pass over. I've got a couple more minutes for Magnus. I think he was within a minute. So I'll cycle pass around one more time. So now I'm just I already used Magnus's. I'm just waiting for my spirit to fill back up. So once it gets over to Lin Mei, I will start that forward pass over to Askeladd. And then a second time of then going forward for an Elaine, Balth, Sharr combo. So luckily no co-op defense, another 14,600. So that was the first level 200 champion I had cleared. So that was Bell, level 202. Here's an overview of the team. All right, next one is, if the video will load, there we go, 207, and it's now Durin. So once again, I'm taking a look at the opponent. So it has an Eerie goalkeeper, so she has an active block, and then it's just a 3-person front and 3-person mid. So the back line is going to be the toughest part. So I move Metatron in front of Shanti. The other thing that I have is because Eerie is a active block goalkeeper, she has an active for that, I put in Valkia instead of Silla, and I basically risked it, and instead of a Silla Ace, I put a Death Queen Ace, just so my Lucian would have even more crit resist. If you don't want to be risky with that because you're getting pretty high, I would still put a Silla Ace center mid, and then just not have Curel in there, but still keep Valkia for that. And then once again, I've got Death Queen in there for the reduction of whirlwind damage, and then same thing, Metatron, Lin Mei, Miho, and then Lucian. So that is the lineup for this 207 Durin champ. So once again, their action bar is pretty much instantly filled up with them being this high. So I'm looking 727 damage non-crit from the Shanti, so that was pretty good. Once again, my Lucian can tank for a bit, pass it around. I don't have Magnus in this one, so all I need is Miho's active before I get Lin Mei's active for the forward pass. So there's Miho's active. Now I'm passing around, filling up that action bar. It's okay if people die as long as it's not the Metatron that's in front of the Shanti striker. So just passing around, debating on whether I wanted to pass it to Miho and have her get killed. But, you know, she's fine because I'll do that. So in that case right there, let me pause that. So in that case, Shanti had gotten the ball because this whirlwind line was so fast. On the last shot, Shanti had killed my Metatron. So because they got it back because I passed it to Miho and she got killed, Shanti got it back right before Metatron was able to revive. So she did have a 1v1 shot on my goalkeeper. That is the scenario that I save Lucian's active block for, which is what I just did. So that way that can just reduce as much damage and sort of be my one safety, you know, in case a 1v1 shot happens. So now I'm looking at the opponent's spirit bar. They don't have one quite yet. So I was debating on just forward passing it to Askeladd and doing it, but because it was close and time may elapse a little bit, I forward passed to Valkia first so that way she could pass, completely reduce his action bar. So now he's down under a quarter, and then pass to Curel, and then now I have enough spirit to do my triple combo with Elaine, Balth, and Sharr. So pass, active shoot, and it's co-op defense, so that sucks, but I still did 10,000 damage on that Eerie. So once again, backline doesn't really matter, action bar, because I've got Askeladd. She instantly recovers that action bar, so I'll be fine with any players on their side having full. So once again, it's coming back 1,200 damage now crit, so I got to be really careful of Miho and if I have somebody available. So here's another 1v1 shot. I would have died right there, but because Shanti didn't crit, I got really lucky. So this is the time where I'm rethinking, wow, I shouldn't have put Curel in there. I should have kept with my Silla Ace to reduce that damage, and just been a little more careful with that. But luckily, Lucian's able to tank pretty good. He is 7 stars, fully superb, plus 160. So he's fine with attacking into the line and then absorbing in all these shots. So 3 minutes left on Miho active before I use that. So just passing around, tanking, trying not to attack into a co-op when my Lucian has already been hit quite a bit. So 1400 crit. Once again, now I'm just looking. I was able to pass with Lin Mei, so Metatron's back alive. So I don't mind, having her die. And same thing with that Death Queen. I didn't want to pass to Metatron and have her get killed, so I just suicided with Death Queen into that Ernesto. So still passing around. There we go. There's Miho's active. So now pass. Just need to fill up 2.5 action bars. I'm wondering if I have enough because I don't need to use Elaine's active again. I could have forward passed it at that point, but I wanted to just be safe and have the full 3 action bars or a spirit bar for this combo just to make sure. So now I'm looking at the opponent's spirit and I see that they've got 1.5 bars. So I definitely have to pass it to Valkia. So that way she can pass and get just under that 1 action bar. So that way Eerie can't use her active block. And because I've got Ascalon, I get a full 100% action bar recovery. And then I can do the triple combo again from Elaine, Balth, and then Sharr. So Balthion's active over. Didn't have co-op defense this time, so that was nice. 16,000 damage on the Eerie. So that was a level 207 Durin. So that was 2 times of building full combo going forward and then shooting and hoping that I didn't have the co-op. All right, so now I was up to 212, so I just have another bell again. So pretty much same strategy, Metatron in front of Blade. I've got Magnus back in there, Silla Ace with Curel because the Racklet doesn't have an active block. I don't need to worry about depleting the enemy's spirit before going up and having my shot. So yeah, pretty much same combo. Just tank with Lucian, pass around as necessary, use Miho or your healer active. If you have a buff like a Magnus that does increase attack and defense, then that's always nice. But depending on how much damage you can do with your striker up front, you may or may not need it. Or once again, because I've got to cycle around another time after I use Magnus's to get back to Lin Mei, that's just extra time that you're taking up. So if you're doing time attacks and you're trying to get in, top 50 or top 10 or something, you got to be sensitive to how much time you're using for that. So I've got all the combos. I'm now using Lin Mei's active, just double checking action bar to see. Passed it to Silla first, just so that way I could fill up to full to 3, and then Elaine, Balth, and Sharr combo. So co-op defense, that really sucks. So 8,000 damage on the Racklet. So now I'm just making aware of that as they come through. So there's 2 people in their midline that still have full action bar. I may need to address that and try to steal. So that's why I tried that with Lucian. So I could pull up, attack, and then burn Linea's action bar right there. And then I believe Cynthia that was in front of Ascalon, she was actually faster. So it reduced her action bar back because she couldn't defend, or she couldn't attack it in turn. So now same thing, just passing around, making sure that I don't accidentally pass to Metatron. And then she would get killed. If I do, I just got to watch the action bar of the opponent and make sure that I don't give it the ball to Metatron and have her instantly die. So attacking forward with Lucian as I can. And once again, the reflex buffs of Lin Mei and Miho are really nice. And I also have 1,000 Watchers on Magnus. So I should screenshot my Lucian and see how much reflex he actually has. But I think it's like 2,300, 2,400. So it's fine in these Coliseum matches where they're 1,800 or so at most. So same thing, passing around, just burning up time. Waiting for Miho's active to come back around again. And then I'll do Miho, Magnus, and then Lin Mei forward pass. The other thing about this strategy is you can basically use this for regular Coliseum. The hardest thing about Coliseum, especially the later levels, 49 to 55, the enemy front lines against your back line are very, very powerful. So I would say that the hardest part is obviously surviving and being able to then do combos like this it helps. So if you're not trying to one-hit KO and get, a really, really high score, which is what you have to do for, top 10 especially, then you can take your time with 2 or 3 of these type of pushes where you can heal, revive, fill up action bar, pass to the midline, get a crit damage buff. Like if you have a Princess Marin or Jacob or a Black Daisy, somebody like that, pass it to a passer that can then get it to the front and then use a Elaine, Balth, Sharr combo. So if you do that twice, especially if you get a really high one-hit KO striker, Shanti is amazing. Obviously Sharr is really good. There's some pretty good ones that, depending on the attribute that you're going up against, will be better than others. So if you're investing into different strikers, utility strikers really aren't the best for this. I mean, you could try Aravian with the changes to counterattack resistance and that cap going down from 65% to 50. It's a bit harder to shoot steel off Ravian. It's still possible, but that's not something that I really risk on championship matches. All right, so connection lost. I boot back up the game, and then it'll show you a abnormal termination screen. So, well, there we go. Ended up winning. Got a 3-star, 5 GP, 356 experience. So then I go through. Next champ on that was 218, where I got an Askeladd. So luckily, like Bell, it's still a racklet goalkeeper that does not have an active block. But this time it's Van as the opponent's striker. So once again, just repositioning Metatron in front of Van, so that way she can soak up his shots, heal the line, and heal the team for action bar. And then same thing, Magnus active, Miho active, tanking with Lucian, passing around, avoiding passing to Metatron so that way she doesn't get killed, and then a 1v1 shot against that. So getting back to Colosseum a bit, something like this is, in my opinion, the best way to climb. You really have to invest in a healing goalkeeper. Once again, Lucian is my favorite because he revives the entire back line. Zabroy is really good, and Angela is also really good. But once again, you got to be careful. So what, you have a really good goalkeeper that tanks if the rest of your line isn't being revived, and then you're getting a lot of 1v1 shots from the opponent against your goalkeeper, then you're not going to last that long. So you really got to, be careful with, action speed and making sure that recovery power is up quite a bit on your healers, so that way you can survive long enough to be able to get these combos off, 2 or if not 3 times. Because you're usually looking about 15-minute intervals for one of these cycles of Miho, Metatron, surviving, stocking up the action bar. In that case, I had an opportunity for Silla to steal because she counterattacked. So I did, and she stole it, and I passed it to Sharr with an active just to get some additional damage on there, because I didn't know how tough this racklet's going to be for a second one. So same thing, trying to counterattack to get up to the midline, so that way I can burn the action bars, so that way when I pass back up to Askeladd, she won't get stolen from, and then I got to wait and try to counterattack again to get the ball back up to her. So same thing now, just passing around, waiting for time to go for using Magnus and Miho actives. So got about 6 minutes or so left. So just passing around, making sure that if there's ever a point that I would pass to Metatron and the opponent has a higher action bar, that I would attack into the opponent rather than passing it to Metatron. Because once again, you do not want 1v1 shots against 200 plus champions against your goalkeeper. So checking action bar, beta was still pretty high. But with those shots on Metatron, I'm slowly recovering. And then once I use Miho's active again and recover even more, I should be fine and have max action bar for everybody in the midline. So just checking action bars every once in a while, making sure I'm not going to do a move that I should be passing. So Miho's active is up. There is her active. Lots of passing, getting it over to Magnus. Magnus active. And then everybody's full in the mid. So I am good to now just build up 2.5 or 3 spirit bars before forward passing with Lin Mei. So same thing. I've got just over 2. So at this point, I'm deciding, okay, I should have enough. If I pass it to Silla or even Curel, I'll be able to pass with both of them and fill up my spirit even more. So that's what I ended up doing, just because I was a little short if I would have passed it only to Askeladd. So there we go. Oh, another co-op defense on the second one. So now I got to do a third push up for trying to kill this Racklet. So once again, if you can keep your hit points over 80% and you have that Silla Ace, that's where it really makes a difference. If the opponent can do quite a bit of damage on you and you can't heal fast enough, that's where you're going to be in trouble. Because if you get below that 80% and you're not getting Silla's 45% reduction, you're going to be hurting pretty bad and you're not going to be able to last long enough. So I got 1 minute left on Askeladd's active. Unfortunately, this front line is just so fast that I've got to, even with attacking in, so that way I don't pass to people, they're still stealing it and getting 1v1 shots on my Lucian. But it's not doing that much with Silla Ace and Magnus in the back line. So same thing, Metatron keeps dying, another 1v1 shot, but I'm at full HP, and with Silla Ace, I wasn't too worried about that. So up to 32 minutes. Now I'm just waiting on, there we go, Miho active. And passing around, pass, Magnus active. And then now building up Spirit until I can get Lin May's active up to Askeladd. So at this point, I do not have, 13 minutes off of Magnus would now be 48 minutes, which is going to end the game. So this is the last full combo push that I can put together. So I'm hoping that I don't get co-op defense again, and I should be fine with a full Elaine Balth Sharr combo on this 5,500 hit point Racklet. So there we go. No co-op the third time, and 16,000. So that was good. That was a 218 Askeladd. 35 minutes. So that one was definitely cutting it close. That was a 3-time combo that I had to survive and get that stuff up to. Okay, so last couple ones that I have. One is Leventor. So this is the highest champion that I faced so far. 224. And, same thing. Just Metatron in front of Leventor. I've got Magnus to decrease that incoming thunder damage, and then Miho, Lin May. And just use Magnus and Miho actives, fill up that spirit, and then start the combo. So, and once again, it was a Robin goalkeeper, so he doesn't have an active block. So that's the other reason why I have Kirel back in there, and then Silla and Askeladd. So there we go, about half of his hit points. So I'm pretty good. Going now again, surviving, passing, burning time until I can use the Miho and Magnus actives again, and then forward passing. So it's pretty much the strategy that I've used for all of these. I did get up to a 228 Choi, and I'll probably play those just that way you can see how crazy that Elaine is up front with the Sharr. But yeah, 224, this Leventor was the highest one that I was able to clear. So I think that's an all-time high. I can't remember. I think Shapur was at 199 for his highest one. So I don't know if anybody else has higher than 200s. But I think as of this point last week, 224 was the all-time high record. So 13,000, didn't have enough. So I've got to put a third push together for this Robin. So 20 minutes, still not bad. Counterattack when I can to get the ball up to the front line or the midline, burn those action bars so that we all have enough. Block when necessary, and you're good to go. Real quick, I'll go over Miho and Lin May, I think, are just key staples with Lucian. I think those three are the best for creating the zombie backline. Both Miho and Lin May give you two amazing abilities for one player. So to have a forward passer that you need, but then also to have a healer, then you're getting two great abilities in terms of one. You could use a Sammy or a Nyros or something like that to forward pass to the midline, but you don't get then her benefit of when she's attacked healing the entire line. So for this type of strategy, I think that, you know, obviously it works out really well for me for both Miho and Lin Mei. Same thing with Miho. You could use like a Virgil or an Avnore instead, but because she blocks and you get that spirit reduction on the opponent, then it's just an even better, you know, 2-for-1 ability for her doing that. So I'm going to pause it real quick. I will be right back. All right. So there's the third one. Sorry, I had to pause it. I got a phone call at the time. But yeah, there's 224 Leventor. That was cleared. So now the next one is 228. So I'll go ahead and show you this. So this Choi was insane. Tried Magnus once again, and then Lin Mei and Miho. But to have the opponent with a Ardor frontline, it was bad. So really had to switch over and do some dark, like a Patricia and Zebroi. But I'll go ahead and show you this one anyway. So I was able to get Magnus's active off. Couldn't even pass it to Miho. The damage on this Sharr was just insane. 1v1 shot. Barely get enough. Can't get it around to Miho to use her active. Sharr active. I'm just dead. So Miho, I got hers off. I went ahead and used Lin Mei. So I got one push up. But 21,000 hit point Angela, even with a full co-op defense, just ridiculous. You know, 4,000 damage on that. Like, it's not looking good. So another 1,150 non-crit Sharr shot. Tried to steal, had nothing. It's just pretty much instant death for this backline. So there we go. That was my first attempt at a level 228 Choi. Didn't go too well. So I ended up losing. I won another one. I got back to another Choi. And so this time I put Zebroi in and Patricia, and the same thing with Lin Mei and Miho. So here is my second attempt at a level 228 Choi champion. So Zebroi tanked a little bit better, but same thing. This front line was just ridiculous. So there we go. That was even quicker. So that was 228. So yeah, that is kind of a quick overview. I know this is a long video, so thanks guys for sticking in on there. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. But this was from last week's run. I ended up getting number 1 for Global. So that was my first time being number 1. And yeah, I figured I was right around 180 in my champion level when I finished the run. So I figured might as well just push up and see if I could get up to 200, and ended up clearing 224. So if you guys have any questions, stuff on your formations or any overall questions, definitely follow my social media. I'm on my Instagram probably the most, but I also have a Facebook page and Twitter. So if you guys have any Soccer Spirits questions or something like that, just follow my WeDeWGames profile, and then I'll try to respond back and help you guys out as best I can. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, once again, just let me know.